What is going on, everybody? It is Bush Fishing and we are back. Now, it has been quite a long time and a lot of stuff has changed, but some things are the same. So in this video, as you guys could see by the title, we've purchased twin 175 Etecs 2007, which I'm super excited about. I did get them for fairly cheap, and there's a reason for that. Both engines actually run, but one of the engines does have a hole in the block. We're going to be getting into that and doing the repairs on that, as well as a bunch of stuff on the boat. If you guys don't know and you're new, I purchased a 1974 Robalo 230. It's an old one, but it was a good boat. We already put a transom in it and a bunch of stuff. This year we're going to be doing the deck, a custom center console to fit the new T-top, and then a custom leaning post, as well as hopefully putting my twin 175s on it. It is a 23-foot boat and they are 175 horsepower each and around 450 pounds each, but we'll get into that later. Once I build the stand for it, which is what we're doing in the beginning of this video, once I have the stand built, we get the motors up, we'll take a better look at them and go through everything that we're going to need to be doing. I do believe the power head's going to have to come off the one engine, but we'll deal with that later. In this video, we're going to be building a stand. So I did get a new lens on my camera, so now I actually have a wide angle. So this should be pretty nice, but I'm gonna get you guys on the tripod and we're pretty much gonna start building this outboard stand. I will get it kind of halfway built before I explain it so it makes more sense. But before we do that, if you guys are new here, I'm Teo. I run Bush Fishing ST Marine. If you guys like outboard repair, boat building, stuff like that, make sure to subscribe down below. I had pretty much the summer off of filming because it was so busy with my own company and it was nuts. But now it's December 8th right now, and it's about 50 degrees out here in Wisconsin, which is kind of nuts, which is why I'm building this. So I have a lot more content coming. I have a bunch of winter projects that I'll be filming, so make sure to subscribe if you guys want any of the merch. First link down below in the description. But let's get into building the stand. All right, so hopefully, as you guys can see behind me, we have the pan set up. The front two pieces are 5 feet long because I want to put both engines next to each other on this, because to be honest with you, I don't know where I'm going to put the engines. I need to figure out how close I can have them because they need to be pretty close together, but they can't hit each other when they turn or cause any other issues like that. So having the stand one big piece where I can mount them together is going to get my mounting so I can make a template. And then once I fiberglass the old holes on the transom, because right now on the boat there's a single 200 and I'm going to twin 175, so with the single 200 I need to glass up those holes and seal that and then make a template so I know exactly where the new engines are going. 5 feet for the front, and then we're going to go 3 feet wide. I've built one like this before, which you guys might have seen in older videos, but this one, what I'm going to do for the uprights is notch it. So I'll have two 2x6s up there, which are in the notch, so that way it takes away the pressure of the engines pulling down on it. But let me make some more cuts and then it'll start looking like a stand. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that, but that's roughly what it's gonna look like. Two pans for it. We'll have a support in the middle and a support on either side, and then we'll have an engine on each side. And from there we can kind of play with it. So now I need to figure out what I want to do with my uprights, because the ends need to be, I'm going to do them at 14 degrees. That's your typical transom angle, and up backwards, and then the engine hangs on it. So I'll probably just cut the ends off at 14 and figure out what I want to do for height. Because these two engines that I do have, the 200 on my boat is the 20-inch shaft, and it's pretty much right at the edge of cavitating because it's just a bigger transom. It's taller, more out of the water, and the 20-inch I thought was going to work, but it's right on the edge, so when you take a steep turn, it will come out of the water. But these new engines I have are 25-inch shafts, which will be so much better because then both will be fully in the water and I'll be able to turn and make full banks. So let's see how tall we want these guys. Probably going to do 4 feet. 4 feet plus the 2x6, which is 5 and whatever. And this will be on wheels at the bottom, and those holes are going to stay open so the lower unit can sit down into it if it's not tall enough. But I think for the sake of the wood that I have, I'm going to do 4 feet at 14 degrees on the end. So let's do that. So all I'm going to do is get this guy loosened up, and we're going to do 10, what's that, 15, we'll do 14 degrees. And all I'm going to do is just cut the end off. So there's our angle. You can kind of see that. Let's loosen this guy up, get it back to 0, and we'll measure from the top edge. So the further one, we'll do 4 foot. Alright, so that was kind of shit, but you can see the end of it. It's our 14 degree, and then she's flat on the top. And if you can hopefully still see, it'll sit like that, flush with the edge, and we'll put some screws in from the top side to hold it from slipping out. But the main support for this is going to be coming from the back side, and that 2x6 is going to be going sideways, and it'll match this angle and the angle down there. Alrighty, so mics are still recording. It's a little different from what I had planned. So as you can tell, I planned on having these guys sideways and notched out so these two boards would be sitting in it. I built my other stands the same way as this one, just a little bit different, and they held. What I'm gonna do is through bolt, 2 bolts going through each of these boards, so that way it kind of holds that vertical pressure. But we got 3 screws in the bottom, and then we put a second piece here just so this screw going downward could grab into that. But I don't imagine having any issues with this. I know for a single motor it's not going to be a problem, but I am putting 2 motors next to each other on this, and they weigh about 1,000 pounds together. Thank God they're not 4 strokes, because that would be way too heavy for this. But pretty much this is what you guys are going to see from today. Tomorrow, once I'm at the shop, I'm going to put wheels on it. I'll put 4 wheels on the bottom just so I can roll them around, and then I'll get the forklift out and I'll get them hung kind of loosely, and then I'll start playing around with where I want them mounted, and then I'll bolt them up, and that's where they'll stay while I work on them until my boat's ready. And then once the boat's ready, I'll have the template made up so that I can put them on there and see. But yeah, I'm excited. It was always my dream, one, to own a center console, because I've always loved them. We go to Florida a lot, and I always love being out there on them. And we do sell them at the place that I work now, so I've always fallen in love with those, but we sell Everglades. And I also wanted a twin engine, so now I own twin engines. So yeah, I guess I'll see you at the shop tomorrow, and we'll get some motors hung on this. Alrighty, everybody, so we are back, and here are my big, beautiful engines. Twin 175s, and you can see we've got them on the stand that we built. I didn't end up getting the wheels under them, but for the 2 of them being on there, I mean, it's pretty solid. There is a little bit of flex just because it is a lot of weight on it, and it's from the bottom of the bracket pushing out on this board and pulling on this one. The brackets aren't bolted up or anything, they're just kind of ratchet strapped down in the front, but for now, this is where the 2 of them are gonna sit. So if you look at the model number on these engines, the DCX, the C is for the counter rotation one, and the DP is for the standard rotation. So I do have these engines sitting the way that they need to be, or the way that they're gonna go on the boat. Right now, the brackets are 16 inches apart, and I measured, I have 50 inches of usable mounting transom. The transom's obviously wider than that, but where I can mount them is 50 inches. So with them the way that they are right now, this will work perfectly fine. And with them sitting, I have more than enough room for them to steer and do everything and for me to be able to access them. So I'm pretty sure the brackets are gonna go 16 inches apart, but I'm still waiting on the manual for these to show up because I wanna see the actual rigging, what they recommend for it, or if there is an actual measurement. But before I do that, I'm not doing it right now. I'm gonna pop these cowlings off and we'll dig into the non-working engine, which it works, but the one that has a hole in it, because I actually don't know if it's the counter rotation one or the regular, and that is kind of important. So let me pop these cowlings off. Alrighty, so it is on the standard rotation engine, so the one on the right. And if you take a look behind this throttle plate, you can see there's our hole. Now looking inside of it, if I can get the light back there, you guys can't really see, but if you imagine, here's the flywheel, here's the crankshaft, it's in the cover to the right. So that's where the two halves bolt together. So if you imagine a regular automotive engine, this would be block and heads, and then back here would be oil pan. Pretty much that's where our crack is. As soon as I can find that part, I'll start digging into this one. For now, these are gonna sit in the shop for probably a while because I have a lot of work to do on the boat as well, which I will actually show you in a second because it's here. But I don't want to buy a whole power head for it because this obviously still runs. If there were metal shavings, if there was a knock, it would make me think that the engine threw a bearing or threw something out the side of that. But because it doesn't have any of that, I don't think it did. This engine will run. It has no compression issues, it has no metal anywhere. It's just kind of weird, but my only worry is I don't know if that piece blew out outward. Because I know that was an Etec thing, more of a G2 thing, but I've heard of it happening on G1s. So that's what I have to work with. The other engine, the counter rotation, is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. The thing will fire up and run right now. But the only other issue is on the starboard engine. Once I lifted it up, I found a little bit of oil down there, which could just be prop shaft seal. It could be the O-ring around the bearing carrier. So I'm definitely gonna have to take a look into that as well. Those are further down the road. We'll deal with that later. Either way, it's not gonna be a difficult fix. Hopefully it doesn't need a new power head or anything, or it doesn't need to be rebuilt. That's what I'm going for, but even if it does, I have all winter to do it. It's December 10th right now, 2 days after the beginning of this video, so I have plenty of time to do it, and I am entirely capable of it. Those are my girls. Obviously the stand works. I'm very curious to see if anybody's had twin 175s on a 23-foot boat, because these engines originally came off a 28-footer. I heard a 25-footer with these two engines, twin 175, was going into the 60s. So I'm kind of curious if I'm gonna have any issues with it, with the boat being off balance, because there's gonna be a lot of weight back there. With what I'm gonna do to the boat with the transom, it's not gonna be an issue with water, but I just don't want the boat to sit like that, which I don't think it will. It's long enough and it's got enough flotation, but those are my engines. So now let's go take a look at the boat, because you guys haven't even seen that finished up, which I don't even think you've seen my T-top or my leaning post situation, but let's go take a look at that so you guys can see what I'm gonna do to the boat before these guys go on it. Oh, another thing. I bought a also 07 Sea-Doo 215 RXT supercharged. So there's that one's mine, that one's mine. The boat behind it back there is mine. And here's my Robalo. Start at the front. This is a piece that got glassed up and it's just bolted into the hull right now. Eventually this will get glassed into the hull and ferret out, but I knew I was gonna be painting the boat. But I put my old Tarova up there with iPilot and everything. I did, if you guys can kind of see that, I did buff out the side of the boat, but it's got so many blisters and it's peeling so bad it kind of looks like but there's my T-top. I don't think that you guys have seen that at all. This T-top does not fit that console, so I have to build a custom console for it, which is perfectly fine because I want to do that anyways. Let's see what else we got. Up in the front of the boat, I put the batteries in there. That cover piece got left off, so that's icy. Hey, my cooler's up in there. But coming to the back of the boat, it's obviously unfinished. This is where I cut the hull, where I took out the top cap to do the transom from the inside. But here's the back of the T-top. I do have 4 JBL or JL audio speakers in there right now. The radio's up in that compartment. There's no amp right now, so the big thing with the new console is the new console is gonna have the amp, the Fusion amp that I'm putting in it, and then I'll have a Fusion head unit. But once I have that in, the speakers will sound much better, and I'm gonna be adding a 12-inch sub and then some more speakers into it. But here's the back of the boat. So right now we have the single 200, which the cowling says 150, but it's a 150 cowling on a 200. It is a V6 as well. It is just a much older 2-stroke, but you can see from back here how much room I have on the transom. So the engines will be closer to out here on either side, but that's perfectly fine with turning and we'll have enough room for that. And obviously what I'm going to do with the hull is from this lip up, it's going to be painted black with flake. It's called Black Ice, I believe, from Spectrum. And the rest of the hull is going to be white. And there's going to be no more bottom paint, no more pinstriping, none of that. I'll obviously have to go over the teak again. Back in here, you can see this is just a mess, but this is the new transom, so it's much thicker than it was before. And the other issue with this boat is, like I was saying earlier in the video, this is a 20-inch shaft, so you can see the cavitation plate's higher than the hull is. With the new ones, they're 25-inch, and they're going to be outboard more, so they'll definitely be far enough in the water. This whole back section is going to get cut out. This is just a cushion I had that I end up screwing in on the front side. So we have that, and we half-assed made a leaning post with a seat that came out of a pontoon that was flipped here. But I have the stainless wheel and everything, so when I switch over to hydraulic steering, it'll be nice. But yeah, this is the boat. Obviously, all these holes where the handrails were in, this is going to get glassed over, and all this is going to get resprayed with gel. And finally, we'll have no more green on the inside. All that green's going to be white with non-skid, but it's not going to be the non-skid sand that you put in the gel. We have the templates from Gibco to make the actual diamond pattern in the hull, so I'll be doing that on the floors and it'll be all white. And if I decide that I don't want to spend like probably a month of my life doing non-skid, I'll just get soft grip on it like it's all in the new boats, then just template it and put soft grip. But I'm freezing my balls off, so let me go inside to finish up this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. In the next videos, I'm either going to be doing repairs on boats that I still have coming in, or we're going to start messing with the boat, getting the T-top off, because I'm going to bring the T-top in here and put it on a pallet, and I'm going to build the console inside of it so I know it fits and I can lay it out how I want to. And then I'll take the console out, glass it, spray it, do all that stuff and all the rigging out here. Alrighty, so I don't remember what I was saying. I got cut off. But if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys want to see more on the engines, on the boat, on anything, make sure to subscribe down below. There is a lot coming. I know I've said that a lot in the past and then I got screwed, but I'm back, I've got the time, and I will be filming a bunch, so there's going to be a lot more content on both outboards. I'm going to start kind of like vlogging my regular engine repairs or boats that I have coming in, so there's that to look forward to, and a lot of boat work because I want that boat to be very fun next year. If you guys want any of the merch, first link down below in the description. Helps me out a bunch, I appreciate it. And if you guys want to see anything else, just comment down below and we'll see what I can do. I do have a Merc 40 horse tiller that was in a fire that needs to get rebuilt, and it pretty much just needs parts put on, so I'll have some videos on that, as well as probably a bunch of other stuff. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.